Hello, lovebirds. I'm back. Well, I'm back in the country. And I wasn't really prepared to make a video today, but I was on Facebook and Twitter. So hello to all of my new Twitter followers and my faithful followers on Facebook. And I posed the question today, and I felt that I had to come out and make this video because in this video, we're going to talk about changing men. We're going to talk about dating a person's potential versus their actual. And I'm going to give you 3 signs to look for whether your man is a faker or a faker or a maker or a faker, a maker or a taker. And 3 signs to look for whether or not your man is using you. All right, so let's jump right into today's topic. I'm going to try to be as loving as possible. I on my Facebook and Twitter page, and if you're not on Facebook or Twitter, look below this video. You'll see the links to that. And the Facebook page is facebook.com/TonyaTko show, and Twitter is Twitter, and that's at TonyaTko, and that's Tonya with an O. You see my hat, Tonya. Right, and then also right here in the video it says TonyaTko, so you know how to spell it. Oh, listen. All right. I posed the question on Facebook, and I am behind on my Woman to Woman Wednesdays, and I'm behind on my Man Day Mondays. So I need to do an entire video for men about protecting your seed and making sure that I'm going to talk about that for men and women. There are a lot of things that we need to talk about, and people wonder why I make so many videos specifically geared towards women. Most of my videos are about self-love, self-worth, and actualizing and realizing your self-value and your self-respect and things of that nature. And I realized today, because I really wanted to make a video towards the men about preparing, the topic started out with a guy who has 4 children, and all of his money is already pre-spent on the children. So he has no time and he has no money to date. And I asked the women, or I asked the people, what should he do? And then I went a step further and I asked the women, if you met a guy he's a nice guy, but he has no money, or he's broke. There's a difference between having no money and there's a difference between being broke. And I need to sit down and we need to really, really pull up a chair and really have a long conversation about this whole broke mentality, because being broke is indicative of some other issues that are, listen, having no money and being broke, number one, oh God, being broke is the aftermath, the result of some other issues that came long before the brokenness started. And it's a whole state of mind that creates this state of being. But nonetheless, I asked the ladies, and some of you are on the page because I said I was going to make this video. I asked you if you met a really nice guy and he wanted to date, would you pay for the dates, pay for his food, feed him when he comes over, and give him money to get home? Oh Lord, my heart is so broken because, oh man, this is part of the reason that I talk to the ladies, because ladies, when they say that we choose, that we're the ones who choose, sometimes we don't really understand what that means. And I'm going to tell you, we have the choice. Number one, we house the wombs. Inside of our body is the incubation vessel for the future generation. So we have complete 100% control. Listen, we may not have control over who approaches us, and then we do different things as women to make sure that we get approached by different people, or some of us even go out and do the approach, and we need to talk about that as well. We may not have control over who approaches us, but we do have control on who we let in. And this is part of what this video is about. Let's talk about stop trying to change men. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, ay. Whew. Number one, men don't want to be changed. They don't. I interview a lot of men, and this is men's number one gripe with women. And ladies, listen, I understand and I applaud you for your creativity and your big, warm, open hearts. But you have to realize that men are very different than women. You know, the feminist agenda that came out in the what was it, the 50s, where the people tried to create this symmetry between men and women. And listen, I understand, listen, we all have masculine and feminine energies. We do. But while we're here in this human incarnation, guess what? Guess what? Physically and physiologically, we're different. Hormonally, we are different. We have different things that drive us. Genetically, we are different. You know, women have, like I said, we house the incubation for all future generations has to come through a woman's womb. Oh, honey, we're the gatekeepers. We are. And men, oh goodness, listen, you know, men have the testosterone, they have penises, and there are all different types of things. The male mind is different than the female mind. Men have egos that are very different than the female ego. Believe me, I have an ego, and even my ego is not that of a man's ego. Listen to what I'm saying, ladies. Men are very different than us. They do not want us to change them. Let's talk about this. Oh, goodness. Men don't want to be your project. They don't want to be, you know, I understand. You know, you get into a situation and you see a man and you see him for his potential, and that's beautiful. It is. But let me get my board. I need you to remember these numbers. Okay, let's talk about the numbers. Okay, here we go. Can you remember that? 80-20. 80% of what you want, 20% of what you can work with. All right. This is going to be very important, and I want you to keep that in. I want you to keep that in mind. I'm going to bring the board back out in a little while, but I want you to keep 80-20 in mind. Why? Because because listen, nobody, no man, no woman is going to be perfect. But when a man comes into your life, you have to, and the sentence that I stated on my Facebook and Twitter page is that we have to stop dating the potential while hating the actual. Unfortunately, what's happening is, you know, we're getting into these situations with these men. Let me bring the board right back out. I'm going to bring this right back out, and I want us to talk about these things. You know, so you see a man and you're like, oh my goodness, if only he were more educated. Oh my goodness, if only he were, let's say, more eloquent. How do you spell eloquent? Eloquent. If only he were more eloquent, more well spoken. That's an E right there. Okay, if only he were better dressed. Oh my. And if only he had a better job. Oh, if only he made more money. Oh, if only, let's see, if only he weren't an addict. If only he weren't addicted to marijuana, cocaine, crack, alcohol, whatever, addicted to thrill seeking. If only he weren't an addict. You know, before I put the board away, let's talk about some of these real quick. Okay. All right. If only he were more educated. You know, some of these things are, let's talk about your idea. Your idea, this is a not equal sign. Your idea may not be equal to his idea of his future. And if this is a man, you know, this is why we really need to find men that we need to find men that we can look up to as men, that we can respect as men, that we can admire as men, so that he can feel like the man in the relationship. We really need to find those qualities in men that we want in men, because some of these things are so deeply interwoven into who this person is as a person. Now, number one, if only he were more educated, more eloquent, better dressed. Now, you know, there's some people, this is not a huge sticking point for so many men. For some, it is. You know, so we can cross that off the list because this is something that you can work with a person on. And if you can't, this is why I'm talking about 80-20, because you have to be able to accept that man for who he is as he is today. And if you are not willing to accept him as is, find somebody else. So let's look at these things. When you talk about more educated, maybe if he had more money, if he wasn't addicted, you know, the whole more money thing goes into the whole job, goes into the education thing, and so many other things. And this is why I'm saying your idea of his future or your idea of who he should be may not be equivalent to his idea of who he should be. So let's go on. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about it. You know, I moved the board away because the screen gets really dark when the board is in here because the light auto adjusts. You're talking about a whole different person. It's like you're Dr. Frankenstein and you want to go create a man and you think that all men are created equal. Remember, we have a lot of different things that drive us as human beings. DNA, upbringing, background, the things that drive us as human beings. And it's like you're trying to create a whole new man out of the vessel of the old man. It's like, okay, well, I'm just going to take this human being and I'm going to treat him like my fixer-upper. And you know what? Listen, listen. We as women, don't get me wrong, because I understand. And you know what? Men may not. Listen, the average man doesn't really understand this point right here that I'm going to share with you, ladies. Right, is that we will naturally, by association, we increase men's lives. We help them make more money. We help their lives become better. They learn how to become better partners. They learn how to become better parents, how to become better fathers, etc. Or even to become fathers through us. We settle men down. We stop them from fighting and warring and all this other stuff. Women settle men down. Men may not really understand that, and that's okay. They don't have to. But and a man will get better in association with you, but not through your depreciation of him, but through your inspiration. He will become inspired by you. But, oh, 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 this is so painful. It's so painful for me because you have to realize that if you're in association with a man whom you do not like his present self, that's not going to inspire him. People can tell when you don't really like them, when they're not good enough as is. It's like if you accept him and love him for who he is, if he is already good enough in your eyes as is, you know, he will think of better ways. He will think of more ways. He himself, but these are things that he has to want to do. Whether or not he is more educated, honey, that's something that he's going to have to come to terms with on the inside. I was going to mention this in the latter part of the video, and I'll probably talk about it there too. But, you know what? Listen, you know what? Me personally, and you know that I'm TonyaTko, and I'm owner and founder of TKO Skin, organic, all natural skincare products made from edible ingredients, handmade. And I'm the owner operator of TKO Skin. You know, and I'm a lifetime entrepreneur, meaning I've never had a full-time job. And me personally, believe me, all of my businesses have not been successful. TKO Skin is successful. And, you know, and TKO Skin goes through waves. And, you know, and so even me as a person, let me tell you, when my money is funny, I can't sleep at night. I can't sleep at night. I can't. And if there's a man who is all right with being broke, all right with being undereducated, all right with being an addict, you know, this video, gosh, we need to get on with it. If a man is all right with that and he doesn't have a problem with it, then, I mean, that in and of itself speaks volumes, does it not? We're going to talk about children a little later on in the video. But I need you to find a man who you can respect as a man and not as and not regard as your offspring or your dependent. Because let me tell you, ladies, the quickest way to keep get his penis soft is to become a mother figure. Become his mother, not his lover. And see, and that depletes him. It depletes his male essence. You know? Oh man. All right. I'm sorry. I feel like I can't really do this video justice. I feel like I can't because this is a very complicated issue. It's very complicated, you know, because there's so much tied into this. Let's get the board back out here. All right, let me get a different color pen. Faker or maker? Let's talk about whether or not a man is faking. Oops, my pen. All right. Oh man, let's tilt this way. All right. Faker versus maker. Okay, how do you know whether a man is faking it or if he's really legitimate? I'm gonna give you the top 3 to look for. All right, if you're dating a man, number 1, dating while, like I said, if a man doesn't have a problem with being broke and he's dating, this is what I'm saying. If you all were already in a relationship and this man met hard times, that's a whole completely different story than a man getting up off his tush and deciding, oh yeah, now is the time for me to date. I'm broke. If you really think about it, remember I said men and women are very different. If you really think about it, what is he dating for? Towards? What is the goal that he's dating towards? Because one particular lady said, oh, she didn't mind, you know, getting to know this man who was super broke, paying for his meals and taking him out and giving him money to get home. She said she didn't mind doing that because she was, you know, trying to get to know him. To what end? It's like, what's the whole purpose and goal that you all are reaching towards? Okay, you're trying to get to know this man who is completely dead flat broke, trying to date to get where? Into a marriage? Into a what? What is he looking for? He's out there, he can't take care of himself. He can't take care of himself, let alone you, or if any children come out of the situation. So what is the end goal of this dating? Because if the end goal is just vagina, all right, go ahead, pay for all of this stuff for him and give him some vagina. Because the average man is not going to settle down when, you know, go look at that video that I did, the top 5 ways to get a man to marry you or something along those lines. I did a video on it. It has a picture of a woman pulling a man back on a wedding cake. Top 5 ways to get a husband or something like that. I'll put the link around here. But to what end? The average man is not going to settle down while his finances are not in order. So if he's out there dating, what is it that he's interested in? Really, at the bottom line, what is he going for? Is he trying to become someone's husband or father? And then some of we women, let me put this board away because I need you to look at me when I say this. Some of we women, we wonder, why is it, oh, we got into this situation with this, oh no, we were pregnant, we got these babies over from this man, he's not taking care of the kids. What did the man do before he got the kids to let you know that he was able to take care of children? It's like you went and you had unprotected sex with a man because you saw his potential. But what did he do in that day and age, that day and time, before you decided to crack open your legs unprotected to him? What did he do to demonstrate to you that he had the ability to not only take care of himself, but any offspring? And then we have the nerve to start listening to these people who are ranting and raving on the internet, talking about, oh, you're a gold digger if you want somebody who has a little bit of money. This is what I'm saying. We're the gatekeepers. You're not a gold digger if you are interested in a person who has the ability to take care of himself or offspring that he produced. What is the alternative? To get with a person and be like, okay, I'm going to be a ride or die chick for whom? Bad gamble, baby. Bad gamble. Ride or die chick for a person who hasn't demonstrated that he has the ability to ride or die for himself. It's like, how do you expect for him to take care of an offspring who is half yours? Remember that. Because so many of these men are going around depositing their children all over the place because they're banking on you to be able to take care of those children. Remember, because if this man does not care about himself enough to be able to do the things that he needs to do to make sure that he can eat, that he can take care of himself. Because what you're doing is you're going and you're taking on a burden. You're going and you're taking on a financial burden of taking care of some grown man. Why? Why? Because of the potential of what you think that he's going to be in the future if he goes and changes all of these things. Oh, if only he got educated, if only he got this. And then I'm going to tell you a secret, ladies, because I've interviewed too many men. That whole male ego thing is so problematic. Because what ends up happening is those, listen, some men, their egos get the best of them. And the woman who saw him when the woman who was buying his drawers because he couldn't afford to buy them himself, he doesn't feel like a man to her. Then what ends up happening? Oh, he goes and he finds somebody who never knew that he was in that state, that he can go and be an unblemished man in front of, so that he never has to think about in his mind, in his ego, the whole time that he went, that he couldn't afford to buy his own drawers and you were buying them. In your mind, you're like, oh, I've proven that I'm a ride or die chick. And in his mind, he's like, oh, she's seen me at my worst. She's seen me at my worst. I need to start all over again. You know, listen, don't tell me it doesn't happen. There will be men who will be out there who'll be like, yeah, she had my back when I had nothing. And there'll be those other ones who'll be like, I can't really look her in the eyes. My penis, I don't feel like a man in front of her. She's buying my underwear. You know what? There's so much. Oh, goodness. There's so much that we can talk about on that. Whew, what part was I up to? This is what I'm saying, ladies. It doesn't make you a gold digger to want to be with a man who can take care of himself, because if he can't take care of himself, that means that you will have to. I talked about this on Twitter. Girls, listen, you have no idea. You're talking about you gonna buy some man's food. You have no idea how much a man's eats. You have no idea how much a big grown man can eat. Especially these men out here working out. Because it seems like the less developed some of their minds are, the more developed they make their bodies. And once they start working out, Lord have mercy. Please. I've seen some grown men eat. Even some growing ones. God, they could put away some food. Girls, let me tell you something. My groceries, me alone as a single person, I spend $400 a month on my organic groceries. Please. We got so much to talk about, but then you talk about increasing, doubling, even tripling your monthly expenses, all for what? So that you can say that you have some warm body around, so that now you're supporting another human being who's not contributing to your household, only weighing in as a burden. How is that going to make you feel like a woman? That you're having sex with someone who's playing the son role in your life, that when it's time to make moves, you can't make the type of moves that you could make without him, that he's just some anchor dragging you down until he lifts himself up, and then go find somebody else who never saw him in the stages where he had holy underwears, where you had to buy his drawers. Ugh, I'm sorry I keep saying that, and I hate the word drawers too. I really do. Let's go on. Faker or maker? How do you know? Number 3. Top 3 signs. Number 3. Within his budget. If he comes to you and you all are dating within his budget, that's a whole different story. But when you guys are dating outside of his budget and he's willingly and openly willing to take money from you, honey, that's a big red flag. If he's like, okay, listen, first of all, why are you going to start a habit and a pattern that you don't plan on continuing in the future? You're like, okay, I'm going to pay for all of this stuff now because I'm hoping in the future he's going to change into a different person. Why start a pattern you have no interest in continuing? Why? Okay, number 2. Number 2. What does he have in place? What's in place that will prove or demonstrate that he is on his way somewhere? Is he in school, working towards a better education, with a job that will, in a field that will be able to support? Is he a student? I don't know how young you are. Listen, these men who are student ages and men who are in school are not really tremendously interested in settling down anyway. It's not until most men, the average man, the type of man that you most likely want is going to be a man who has enough pride and self-worth that he is not going to make himself become a burden on another person. And while he is still in the process of getting his act together, he is not wanting to align himself with a family. So many of these men talk about the women who took care of them when they were in school and who did all of that, and how, oh, this is why they don't like such and such women, because they weren't there for them. But if you really think about it, listen, especially if we're going to start talking about in the black community, average black man is not getting married. They're not getting married to the people who held them down. They're not getting to the married to the people who didn't hold them down. So listen, don't waste your time on that foolishness, because those people, listen, while they're in that stage, they're most likely not going to get married anyway. So you might as well go ahead and start doing something else. Date a man who is on his way to being. The average man will not settle down unless he can visually or mentally see the direction that, unless he is on his way. Let's go on, because I know that that's going to spur a lot of controversy. What can I do? What can I say? According to the research that I've done, and the scores of men that I've interviewed, the average man is not willing to align himself with any type of future potential family until he's gotten himself in the direction that he wants to be going in financially as a man. So you go ahead then. You do whatever you want to do. Listen, is he in school? Is he in any type of job training? Is he in any type of job training? And then C, does he have any type of track record? Does he have any track record of, number one, keeping a job? I don't know how to, let's put the K there, for keeping a job. Does he have a track record for keeping a job? I'm going to put an F here for follow through. Does he have a track record for following through? And then also, does he have a track record for being responsible? Does he? You know, it's like, if this is a person who's constantly moving from job to job, from school to school, getting kicked out of here, kicked out of there, is this a person who has a track record of even being able to hold it down on his own? It's like we're putting these gambles on people who are not even demonstrating for their own self that they're willing or able to be head of their own household, let alone head of yours. It's like, if you're doing a good job as head of your own household, I mean, listen, ain't nobody going to go and bring some CEO off the street who doesn't have any prior training of being of head of his own entity. Come on now. It's like, you know what, so many of these men, they want to come in, they want to be head of household, but you haven't demonstrated that you have the ability to lead any household. And we're going to talk about that in number one. The number one way to know whether your man is a faker or a taker is discipline. Hear what I'm saying, ladies. Discipline. Is he disciplined with his reproduction? I'm going to put an R right there. Can you see that? Let me tilt this down a little bit. Okay. Is he disciplined, or has he been disciplined with his own body in the way that he's reproduced? If he has a whole bunch of children all over the place, hey, then you know what? And you ask some of these men whether or not they have children. Let me give you a little quick segue right here. Can you see me with this board out the way? Okay. Some of these men, you ask them if they have children, and they're gonna say no, right? Ask this question: how do you know that you can have children, or are you not able to have children? Then all of a sudden their ego kicks in, and they're like, oh yeah, I can have children. Oh, how do you know? Oh, okay, because he's had children before. I asked a man very recently whether or not he was 50 years old, 50 plus, whether or not he had children. He was like, no. I need to do a whole video about this. He said he did not have children. Okay. But you know, I love to interview men. I do. Impromptu interviews all over the place. Okay. He said he didn't have children. He's 50-something years old. I was like, oh, are you not able to have children? Then all of a sudden the truth, they come out. The truth come out. The man had children. He was able to have children. But he claims that, he didn't believe that the children were his. Both of them. He had two. He didn't believe the children were his. And so he never got a paternity test, never got nothing, just decided to just leave the children. Just like that. One of the children he can't even find because he doesn't even know the woman's name. This is some of the people that we're out here dealing with. So you see a man who doesn't have any children, that doesn't mean that he necessarily does not have children. You need to be aware, because a person like that wouldn't even be able to get through my front stoop talking about he got some children he's not taking care of. And ladies, that's a whole nother thing. I guess, we're only concerned about our household, but look at his track record. If he has a track record of leaving his children, listen, we need to ask questions. Some of us not even asking questions. Let's go on. R, was he disciplined with his reproduction? Here we go. Let's put the money sign. Does he have discipline with money, spending money, saving money? What type of discipline does this man demonstrate? Okay. Then on the last one, committed. There's a C down there. Has this man demonstrated that he is able to be committed to things? Has he been committed to any improvement programs? Committed to any job or persons or whatever? Does he have a track record of being committed? Does he have a track record of cheating? Does he have a track record of staying true to different things? If a person is all jumping all around, pay attention. These are patterns. This is why I'm saying that being broke is not something that is solitarily confined to one area. This is a whole issue. I was reading this thing, and I'm going to post it on my, you know what, I think I'm going to post this on my actual website, TonyaTko.com. So come over there. It's this little thing with Dwayne Wade and Whitley from different world on there. And he was like, oh, what type of husband would you like? And she's like, what type of husband do you think I want? And he's like, a rich one. And she's like, I want a man who's ambitious, enterprising, and educated. And he's like, oh, so you don't mind if he's poor? And Whitley's response was, that type of man is never poor. Trust me, if you meet a person who is broke, flat broke, and bumming it, take a look and see what's going on in his life. Does he have the ability to even make his situation better? Oh my goodness, we haven't even gotten to the last one yet. All right. And the last one that we were going to talk about is how to know whether or not your man is using you. And I'm going to, I don't want to use a whole new piece of paper, so I'm going to write in this little section right here. Just pay attention. Pay attention. I'm going to use black marker. Okay, number 3, how to tell if your man is using you. All right, number 3 is if he has no problem with being broke. No money, no problem. If he ain't got no problem with that, that could be indicative of something else. The average man should have a problem with the fact that he can't feed himself or buy his own doggone underwear. There should be a problem with that. No money, no problem. That's number 3. Number 2, is he willing to engage in unprotected sex? This is an irresponsible person. Unprotected sex? Is he willing? Okay, that means that's a huge warning sign right there. And then number 1, does this person happily take from you? Gimme guy, gimme. Does he take for you? Is he eating your food? Is he using up your utilities, your food, utilities, your cable, sitting around on your couch, using up your lights and not contributing anything? Is he willing and able to take bill money from you? Bills, you go, oh, I got this bill. Is he willing to let you pay for his bills? And not only that, is he increasing your bills? Is he increasing your bills by either using up your lights or your gas, your electricity, or your whatever, or even saying, oh, let's join phones together. Oh, let me put my phone on your plan, or oh, my prepaid just needs a, no, come on now, listen. Is he increasing your bills? Ladies, listen, open your eyes. Open your eyes. Listen, number 1 complaint men have about women is women trying to change them. So what can you do? What can you do? Stop trying to change men. They don't want you to. It decreases the amount of lust that he has for you and that you can ultimately feel for him. You know, as women, we're wired differently than men are. Men are wired to feel most masculine when they're able to take care of house and home. A woman is wired to feel most feminine when she is able to rest in her femininity and be able to give out the things that make us beautiful and that make us women, being able to concentrate on being a woman and giving forth those things, because he will be able to increase from the inspiration that he feels from you. But you have to make sure that you're working with good stock. You have to make sure that you're working with good stock. You know, it's like I gave this example before because I like to culture my own yogurt. You know, I eat very healthfully. I like to culture my own yogurt. And you cannot use ultra pasteurized milk when culturing yogurt because it just doesn't have the bacteria and the enzymes in there to be able to become yogurt. It doesn't. So you have to take, if you're going to make a gamble on a man, make a gamble that you can live with. If you know, listen, 80-20, we started out talking about that. If you know that that 20% is something that you do not want to perpetuate or promulgate for the entirety of the relationship, don't do it. Don't do it. We're the gatekeepers. We're the ones who allow what will come in and what will not. So please, find somebody who is more along the lines of your 80-20. Something that you can deal with. And when you accept that man for who he is, not only do you feel better, but he feels better and he is able to be inspired by you. Oh, did I get it all out? Whoo, so I know I was talking fast. Sorry for some of my foreign viewers. I know I talk fast. I'm back. I'm back. So listen, let's hug it out. Hug me. Hug your girl. I'm back. Hug me. Oh, I love. Listen, I love you all very much. Go out there and love one another. But most importantly, what? Love yourself. That's right. That's what all of these videos about self-love and self-empowerment. When you love yourself, listen, I mean, come on. What is the purpose of increasing your bills trifle? There will be some men out there who'll be like, oh, what's the purpose of me increasing my bills trifle, taking care of some woman, blah, blah, blah. Hey, listen, have at it. Listen, that's the type of life that you want to live with a man like that. Listen, if you're going to start some pattern starting out, don't listen. Was one particular guy on my Twitter who was like, him and his wife have been married for however many years. They got separate bank accounts, separate money. They don't combine money. They split the check. If that's how you want to live your life, you just go find somebody like that. Just listen. They letting you know from the very beginning what's up. Like, oh, why should I take care of some bum woman and all this other stuff? Okay. It seems that from whom I've interviewed, it seems that for some reason men are less interested in their woman's educational level and the amount of money that woman brings in, etc., etc. And that's fine for some men. If you're the type of man who that's not fine for, that's fine. Everybody has to get with somebody who they're all right with. And listen, there are some women out there who are okay taking care of a man because that's what they want. Maybe that's what they saw or whatever. That is fine. That is fine. You know, there are certain things that are intrinsic to male behavior, and we have whole lot of people out there who are being raised up in single parent families, either single father or single mother households or whatnot, or maybe some households where we had some bad examples as mothers or fathers or whatever, and then we go and we live our lives in ways that make us feel most comfortable. Listen, ladies, this video is not an absolute for everyone. If you are all right with taking care of a man, that's what I'm saying. That's a whole nother video. I'm talking about just changing people. If you're all right with taking care of a man, you do what you got to do. Okay? If you feel that investing and paying for him and buying his underwear and all that other stuff is is okay, if you just want some company, a warm person in your bed, maybe some penis or whatever, all right, okay. Listen, remember I said we got to work with good stock. Because his very nature as a man, you becoming too much of a mother to him is going to send him out there with somebody who's going to make him feel like more of a man. And you wonder, how could he leave all of this when I was doing all of that with somebody who had less than me? You wonder why. Okay, this is why. He felt like a man in that situation. I went into a whole other topic. Whew, listen, let's go. Let's get out of here. Here's my website, TonyaTko.com. Come over there and look at the piece that I'm going to put up, please, because I want to talk about that as well. Come to my website, TonyaTko.com. Find me on Facebook, Facebook.com/TonyaTko Show, and Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest at TonyaTko. And I'm out of here, TonyaTko, and I'm out. Peace, your love guru. And remember, Monday we got Man Day, and Wednesday we got the Woman to Woman Wednesday. I need topics for all, so come to my website and write to me. Peace.